Welcome, everybody, to the Baja HQ and live Fishgistics show brought to you by Team Ford as we get set to preview the Baja 1000 for 2018. I'm Cameron Steele, Trophy Truck Racer, of course, for those of you that know. Those of you that don't, you must be living under a rock or something. But just kidding, number 16. And next to me, my good buddy, Trophy Truck Driver Extraordinaire, and recently the recipient of the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame Influencer Award for Off-Road Motorsports, if I'm not mistaken, Ryan Arcerio, and also in the top 5 in Trophy Truck points. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here, and congratulations to you for getting inducted into the Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame. That's a pretty cool honor.
It's been a tough one to swallow, to be honest with you. It's kind of weird to talk about, but it's cool to.
Does it make you feel? Does it make you feel old?
Well, that's what I was originally saying.
This is supposed to be for my dad, my grandfather,
yeah. Certified old.
Yes.
But I feel like a spring chicken. It's really cool, though. I'm really impressed. Ford really stepped up with Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame. And there was over 650 people, as I understand it there. The whole industry of off-road was there, all the manufacturers and the tire people. And just it's really a cool gathering of people. And what Mark McMillan and the board have done over the last 5 years or so have really made it pop, and what a cool event.
No, it feels proper, and for those that are involved in our sport or love our sport, I encourage you guys to become members of Ormhoff. It is cool. I mean, obviously this is a sport that we've been around our entire life, and we have such a passion for, and anything we can do to give back to it or to help grow it, and Mark has done a phenomenal job of taking this to another level. So my hat's off to the entire crew over there at Ormhoff.
And speaking of experience and years in the game, let's go ahead and throw it out there. Ryan, how long have you been racing? I know you're a little bit younger than me, but you've been racing off-road cars since when?
This would be my 26th year of racing off-road, but around it my whole life with my dad.
So what year is that? Don't make me do the math.
Oh, God, I do the math. 1991. So what is that? Is that 26 years?
26 years.
26 years.
That's what my math says. But
there you go. Exactly.
I'm an off-road
but
racer.
my family's been involved in it since 1973 with my dad and my uncle, so a long time.
I date back as well to the 70s with my dad, going to his first race with Parnelli Jones. First Baja 1000 in 71, he was on the start line, and I actually got to race my first race in 82.
Ooh.
So I'm dating
a little before that.
As a navigator, I was meeting the right seat. There was no GPS. There was no real radio.
That's right.
You're just sitting over there, and part of the time I was sleeping. I'll be honest, just part of the way we did it. But today we're here to talk about our passion, the Baja racing, Fishgistics, of course. If you're not familiar with Fishgistics, they do tracking, live race information back to your team via text, via sat phone, and via MSAT. They track the entire race. They do the service for us. They have services for a number of people, but they're also quickly becoming one of the hotbeds for information on the off-road circuit. Thanks to Fish, Austin Garner.
Glad to be doing it. Glad to be doing it.
I was talking to Fish, when we first got in here about just how cool it is, how he's taking this to yet another step because our fans, and we were saying 99% of the people that love what we do or don't even know that they love what we do yet, they're the ones that need the information. They're the ones that aren't at the race. So he's done a phenomenal job.
Just happens to be a hat right there.
And what is it, Baja HQ?
Yeah, that's true. But this fluorescent lighting is bad for my eyes.
Does it recede the hairline a little bit more too?
No, it might.
Okay, just checking.
Look pretty good still.
Yeah, looking all right. Certified old.
But great job, Fish.
Thanks. We're trying.
We know we need to take it to yet another level. We know it takes time, money, effort, but my hat's off to you, man.
Well, speaking of time, money, and effort, one of the sponsors here today is someone that's very passionate about the sport, Team Ford. If you don't buy your vehicles at Team Ford, you are very silly because they support Best in the Desert hugely. They just support the entire off-road group, and Steve Olligus races the number 27. He owns Team Ford. We buy all of our trucks there, so we think you should buy all of your trucks.
I bought my Raptor from there. Have it right outside. Got a little Baja HQ tagged on the license plate cover, but proud to carry it. But yeah, Olligus does such a great job, and he's such a giver to our sport in general that you would be foolish not to head over there to Las Vegas to go visit those guys.
And if you're in the market for a truck, call over there right now and tell them that you're looking for the Fishgistics discount because they're offering that right now.
There you go.
Call up, set up your meeting, and let them know that you're interested in a new Ford, which you should be.
And if you don't live in Vegas,
coming out.
if you don't live there, they'll fly you over there to buy a car.
More than half their customers don't live there.
Exactly.
I mean, we all, like I said,
that's what we did.
Everybody we know down here buys our vehicles from Team Ford.
I know all the cars they sell are 50 state emissions.
For
I know they did that on purpose too. So that was smart of them.
Still a little hoop to jump through when you buy it here. You still got to get it, I think, weighed.
Yeah,
or something like
and then
that.
the smog.
Smog, that's
smog,
it.
Yeah.
Smog, yeah. It's silly.
Yeah.
50 state emissions means the smog's good in every state, but California still likes to charge you.
Yeah. They need their money.
It's California. Hey, but anyway, let's talk about the Baja 1000 2018 running of this race. First of all, wanted to say that I think that Roger Norman and Elise and Jose G have all been doing a great job with SCORE. I think that they've been really focused on trying to build the safety, trying to build the media, trying to deliver great courses. The courses have gotten substantially tougher. We've gotten off a lot of the graded roads. Ryan, I don't know if you echo my sentiments, but I feel like everybody at SCORE has been working really hard to try to propel the races to great places.
You know, Sal Fish had done a phenomenal job.
And I'm not digging on Sal.
No, not at all. Sal had done such an awesome job to take something from nothing and build it into you know, I say what it is today, but with the name. But Roger and Elise have really been able to take that brand of SCORE and really elevate it to another level, and bite, you know, especially on the marketing side, especially on, you know, the live feeds they do at the start finish lines. I mean, all that is huge because we need to get our message out to the masses that aren't at the events, and they're starving for that information. But they've done such a great job.
And the race director, I think, has been laying out some great courses with the help of BFG and Jackson Motorsports Group. And
I know that can't be easy either. I mean, that cannot be easy, especially, you know, after go through revisions of what you can and can't do down there. I'm sure the Secretary of Tourism, when they submit this thing to them, the course to them, I'm sure it gets changed and marked up to no extent. I don't envy them one bit.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a lot of work, and thank you, SCORE, for all the efforts. But let's talk about the course, because that's what we're here to do. We're going to talk about the course. We'll probably talk about our picks. We actually have Christian Serapis in-house as well. He's going to help us with some of his picks, and he was the winner of the recent Best in the Desert Laughlin race in his all-new four-wheel drive trick truck. And we're looking forward to hearing what he has to say as well. But right now, let's start off because we've been starting in Ensenada seemingly forever for those of us who've been around. Of course, it's been started in different places. It started in Ojos, if I'm not mistaken. It started in Mexicali.
Santo Tomas.
In Tijuana, started in Santo Tomas. Back to the last decade or so, we've been in Ensenada. I don't think you could have a location that has a bigger fever pitch for off-road racing than Ensenada. The
it's
fans
insane.
Are huge.
It's insane. I mean, you just for tech inspection and contingency. I mean, it's wall to wall. You can't even move in that place. And then you pull up to the start line the morning of the start of the race, and it's just wall to wall people. You leave the start line, you get down in the wash, and it's just full bank. The whole bank's all the way down the wash, leaving Ensenada. I mean, I'd venture to say there's got to be at least 50,000 people that are there for the start.
Sure.
I mean, it's incredible. So you think to yourself, a modern day stadium now that, you know, for football or baseball, you know, holds about 50,000 people. That's our fan base leaving the start line.
Yeah, just in Ensenada. But this is quite a course they've laid out. I don't know how many of you have taken the time to really look at it. The bottom line is it's a loop race this year in 2018. We're going to head down the coast of the Sea of Cortez through San Felipe, Gonzaga, and then cross the highway at Chapala, and then we're going to come back up the Pacific side. We're going to go through some incredibly tough and remote areas after Chapala and before Catavina, come up through there, and then, of course, hop across Highway 1, back up the Pacific coast. We'll talk about the course in detail here. We'll take it segment by segment, but loop races are traditionally rougher and traditionally less logistics, so to speak, because you're not running the entire peninsula. You don't maybe need as big of a crew, but anytime you're taking on the Baja 1000, especially when you really have to have separate groups on both sides of the peninsula, it's a lot to put together.
It is, and I think you hit the nail on the head when you first stated the fact that they're typically rougher. That's one thing I have noticed throughout the years is the loop races to me almost are getting tougher than the peninsula runs. That's not to say the peninsula runs an easy feat by any means at all. I love them because to me that is the true Baja 1000 going length to the peninsula. But I know it's not always realistic to do that. But
not realistic in our budget.
Not exactly.
But I would totally echo what you're saying. The Baja 1000, the whole peninsula, That's what I always look forward to.
It is. I mean, to me, as when you think about it, that's what it is. But not taking anything away from the loop races, because I tell you what, even though we only have 806 miles, I think yeah, exactly. I think you can echo this too. It's not a 2,000-mile race, but going through the San Felipe sections that we'll talk about later, I mean, there's some rough and nasty stuff for this race, and every year it's getting nastier and nastier and nastier. We've run the San Felipe stuff 3 times this year. San Felipe, the Baja 500, and now for the Baja 1000.
For sure, and I think the one thing SCORE has been doing is they've been getting us off, in the northern part at least, off the main graded roads, so there's access, it's safer, but the sections that we're running on aren't getting regraded because it's just old 2-track.
Yeah.
And so it's getting beat up, it makes it rougher and rougher. And I will tell you from my experience, especially this year, Trail of Missions, our truck trip, and Rip to Cabo, our bike trip, we went to Cabo San Lucas both. Baja Sur has been like it looks like freeway down there. It's incredible how good most of the roads are, and in contrast to a lot of stuff that we're going to be racing on this time. But it's been beautiful on the peninsula. One thing I will point out is you guys are going to see some amazing beauty as we race through the Chapala to Catavina area, the Valle de los Cirios, which is a protected area. With the Cirios tree, or the Boojum tree as it's known, the elephant tree, the Cardones. Baja is blooming beyond belief. It is so green right now, and the storms that came through, which did some damage but thankfully not a ton, dumped some rain, and it has really changed the landscape of how it looks. But it hasn't made for a lot of damage on the race course, which I'm sure that you're hearing as well, or I don't know if you've been on the race course, but we spent some time on our bikes recently outside of the race course and didn't see as much water damage as we had expected.
No, I go down next week for the first time, and I, other than hearing what took place south of San Felipe as far as the highway goes, I'm hearing everything else is in really decent shape. I was hearing the first runs through Matomi to get out back to Portecidas were like a freeway.
Yeah, I heard the same.
Which is really cool because it's almost like fresh powder, if you're a skier.
Yeah, so definitely one of the things when it comes to chasing, you guys got to overplan the time for your chase crews to get anywhere. All of the highway damage that has occurred below San Felipe and down to Coco's Corner, out to Chapala is very serious. In your pre-running, be careful. There's a lot of damage on the Scorpion Bay Road, too, for those of you that are listening that might be traveling down south. Beware down there. But the problem is coming up on washouts that you don't know are there. So you got to really cruise slow and be careful. Let's get it started in Ensenada. Let's talk about what I would call the traditional first segment. Let's get to San Matias Pass.
We'll turn on the map for everybody to see here.
Here comes the map. So as you know, we're going to race out of Ensenada to Ojos Negros. Very traditional layout, I'm sure.
Let's get over to
but
Ensenada.
When we get to San Matias, I'm not sure the exact race mile down at San Matias, but you're taking a look here. We're gonna
obviously the start's not there because they don't technically give us a start until the Wednesday before the race.
Right.
So you're not seeing that on the map right now, but for the most part, it's going to be probably the same as what we just did for the 500.
I would like to caution everybody too that there's a lot of two-way traffic out there. The roads don't go to nowhere. Just because you feel like you're in the middle of nowhere doesn't mean there's not a rancher or someone out there, or even like a bike tour or a wide open tour coming the opposite direction on some of these roads. Be very careful, especially in this Ojos area. So the pre-running there, you're going to jump back and forth off the main graded road on both sides, both outbound and inbound. And there's some really rough stuff out there in those first few miles outside of Ojos.
And then that the silts developed in those newer areas that we ran for the 500, which we're running here for the 1,000 now. So those are going to get worse and worse as the pre-running goes on. And then for the slower classes, after the trophy trucks have gone through there with their 40-inch tires tearing that stuff up, it's going to get even worse. So that is a challenging section from Ojos just to get back to K77 back at the highway again. It's got a little of everything. I mean, would you not say?
I would agree. There's a lot of real hard-packed sandstone and rock from the junction at Tres Hermanos, which is outside of Ojos Negros, where you make the left turn. It's going to be, there's some sections in there you want to be very careful of. You talked about the silt. But definitely those big surprise holes that you really can't see coming up fast on it. You got to be very careful.
And there's a number of them in there too. But and that section too. I mean, for me, it's a real driver section because it's technical. So you really have to be at one with the vehicle in order to go fast through that section. But at the same time too, it's the beginning of an 806 mile race. So you're not necessarily balls to the wall. You got to kind of set into a pace and figure out where you're at compared to the guy in front of you in your competition. Because what's hard about it is, especially in that section, as you get into Ojos, and then you get into that silt area, is there's not a whole lot of passing. If you've caught somebody, you're probably going to stay behind them until you get out to K77 or further down the race course, so you get to San Felipe. There's not a lot of places to pass. There's not huge multiple lines, so you're really going to have to exercise patience, I think.
For sure, and I think patience are going to be the storyline all the way down towards San Matias.
Another thing to keep in mind, when you get to 77, this is a 60 mile an hour speed zone. I know at the Baja 500 there was some confusion there.
Yeah.
So that is a 60 mile an hour speed zone there on the highway.
And I know they've changed the speed zones just a little bit from what we had at the 500. So, but yeah, you're right. That was 60 at the 500. It is 60 for the 1,000. So.
Yep, and then we'll get out into some more traditional running through the back of Independencia. As you see the zigzag there through the VCPs 23 through 26. That's going to take you down. I understand there's a new section in here that I haven't ran on. Well, I mean, I should say I haven't raced on, possibly. Down south as we get towards the Goat Trail. You can
right
see
there.
the zigzag
right in here.
Yeah, right there. I've never done it either. I just happened to I studied it a little bit on Google Earth when I saw I laid up the 500 course to the 1,000 and started looking at it, and honestly, I don't even think you're so tunnel vision when you get to that point of where you're going, and the fact that we've been going the same way for years and years and years. I'd never even looked to the right to see if there was a road that goes out there.
There's a lot of VCPs right in that couple mile section too. It looks like
they're definitely trying to keep you on the road to make sure that you're hitting that. There's always the clever character, like if you just put VCP 33 up there, someone's like, well, that's only a 9+1 minute violation. I can just go between 31 and 34 and only take the small penalty, and maybe pass 5 cars in my class. But anyway, that's silly talk.
Who would do that?
VCPs. Who would do such a thing? You're going to get on the highway at Valle Trinidad.
60 miles an hour again.
Yep. For those of you not familiar with the area, there is a Pemex down in town and one out by Highway 3. There's a great taco stand that a lot of people like to eat at.
A number of times.
Might have eaten there. And then you're going to come down. This is what's affectionately known as the Kiliwas Loop. And Kiliwas is the name of the village out on this loop. So be very careful when you're out pre-running because there are people that live out there. This fast graded road can be really tricky. And every time I'm pre-running on it, between this VCP 35 you see here and race mile 120, I always see tracks going off the edge of it.
No,
I think people get caught up on like it's kind of flat, fast rolling hill speed, and all of a sudden they're like,
there's some good over rises and like hard lefts, hard rights, little breakoffs, but you're absolutely right with that. And kind of back to your point, Cameron, as soon as you get on that road, you got to realize for the first part of that, you're on farmland, and every time I'm down there, I see a farmer going in the opposite direction. Just like Cameron said earlier, just use caution when you're pre-running. There's no reason at all to go a race pace when you're pre-running at all. I have never gone a race pace in pre-running, and I get everything done I need to get done. My notes are perfect, and I'm safe about doing it. Doesn't mean you're not susceptible to getting an accident, but you want to err on the side of caution.
You will junction onto the Mike Sky Rancho Road to come out to Highway 3. Just remember, there's a lot of tour groups, a lot of people that might be pitting or hanging out up at Mike's Sky Ranch, so beware of two-way traffic there, both spectators and ranchers and such. And then you're going to get on the highway, which
37 mile an hour zone.
37 zone. This is an area that we had an accident on a couple years ago, and it's just everybody needs to be safe. Really pay attention to what they're doing. Remember to bring your dim lights for your pre-runner and your race car, and please tell your chase crews. Please tell your chase crews. I can't tell you how many times we're on the highway with the race truck with our dimmed ambers on, and somebody's coming at us with like double light bars and all this stuff on the highway. That's just unnecessary.
On a chase truck.
On a chase truck, yeah, just unnecessary. And really, I wish there was a way to punish those people. Our group's going to start taking pictures of them and try to put them on the internet so we can call them out.
Absolutely.
I think I know a site you could put them on.
Yeah,
There you go.
Fishgistics.
There you go. Perfect.
Stir up some stuff.
Yeah.
So we're going to come down through San Matias Pass in the wash, which we don't get to run that downhill all the time.
Nope. Usually it's uphill. Yep.
That's pretty cool. There's a lot of rocks in there, so be
A lot
careful.
of rocks, a couple different lines in there, which is nice. And I think as we skirting a little bit south, now we're to a point in the race that kind of opens itself up to passing.
For sure.
I think it's very, like I was saying earlier, I think it's very difficult to do any of that unless someone has a problem up to this point.
And this is around mile 150 once you get down here, so you've been behind somebody for a while.
I mean, you're going to go 150 miles before you can actually get, try to, especially if someone's going a good pace.
Yeah.
Good luck. Good luck with that. Your risk versus reward, the risk is way high.
There's some big holes, too, after the speed zone ends there near the Valle Sol Road. So be really careful when you get next to the highway. There are massive holes. Going the other way, there's 3 in a row. Going this way, I think there's 3, but the first one would be very scary. That's going to take you into the area known as Borrego, or the Borrego Road Crossing. There's a couple of historical sections here. Lots of racing's happened here over the last 4 decades. It's beat up. There's some multiple lines in there. I'm not going to divulge what we're going to do.
Can't tell them all the good lines. That's what pre-running's for. And Christian Serapis here also, so
yeah,
you'd tell 2 other competitors.
Yeah, I'm not telling anybody nothing.
Yeah,
and they do have too. They have VCPs in there as well. So
watch yourself.
Watch a 40. So VCP 42, 43. They keep you closer to the highway. There are some lines out to the right.
It's interesting what Jose G and the score guys have been doing. Sometimes you'll come to a race, like for instance, we raced San Felipe, and what's now VCP 44 was there. You had to go to the outside of that mountain, right?
Yep.
You went to the Baja 500. There was no VCP there.
You can go to the inside.
You can go to the inside of the mountain.
Yep.
And so there's tradition there at VCP 44. You can run your mouse like from 170 up there. Yeah. That used to be the corner known as 3 poles. Right in this area here, we used to actually run straight up to here at Fish, and then back down this wash.
But you can see it right here.
Yeah, where VCP 44 is, that became the creative racing line and kept getting more and more creative over the years. So now VCPs have eliminated the option to do some of that stuff, but there are still a lot of ways to make a mistake. I actually made a mistake, if you can believe this, at the San Felipe 250, just south of VCP 44. I ended
this
up
year?
Yeah.
Really?
We finished second. We didn't lose lead on the course, but I made a mistake, and it happens occasionally. I got on the wrong line. Where I wanted to cut over, there was people standing.
Yeah.
To get to the other line, and I was like, "Oh, I'll just wait," and I waited, and I was like, "Oh, damn, we're going up. We're going to 3 poles."
Yeah.
So we had to cut over to make it there. So this is going to get you into obviously there at race mile 160. Start probably seeing a lot of pits. There'll be a lot of people, you guys. Everybody from Mexicali and San Felipe will be spectating in these areas. So please, really, really be careful. As you get through race mile 170, and then you're going to pop out next to the highway down below 175. Really, I think that's race mile 177. Heads up there, going to come between the fence and the highway, and there's a kicker in there, which a couple people have crashed on.
Yep.
So heads up, be careful, and don't get too crazy. Checkpoint 1 for the Baja 1000.
It is. I mean, I think once you round the corner, I mean, there's from Borrego to that point. The wash is not too bad, but once you round that corner at the very top and start heading back down to check 1 is now where the serious bumps start that take you pretty much all the way into San Felipe.
I think from San Matias to below San Felipe is all bumps, right?
And that's where the suspension is going to get tested for sure.
Back on the traditional race course, race mile 185, the San Felipe race course. We've been running a lot of different variations down there. So back on the traditional race course, which
is going the other way now, obviously from San Felipe, right?
Southbound. You kind of come around that small little mountain there. Race mile 190 puts you back on the poles, which is downhill and can be quite scary at speed. So heads up in there, especially next to those big power poles.
And those trucks will be scooting through there.
Cross what's known as Zoo Road, race mile 195. You're starting to come into the San Felipe area.
See, now for San Felipe, we had that 37 mile, was it 37 or 60 mile an hour speed zone before Zoo Road. And it looks like they've removed that now.
It's like it's open on this one.
Yeah, exactly. So
at least at this point, it could change.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
The other thing is, this is a bit of a different race. Obviously, we're going to be at this section a couple hours into the race, or a few hours into the race, and I think there's a lot of options for spectating in lots of different places. At San Felipe, everybody from Ensenada, Tijuana, Mexicali, San Felipe. They're all converging in this small
One
area.
spot.
So
No, good
hopefully it's not as crazy, but I always self-patrol my speed zone in there.
Yeah.
I always take it easy through there. Lots of zigzags in San Felipe, lots of VCPs. I think that's pretty evident what we're talking about there. Some fast roads, but also some traditionally some really, really cruddy stuff. But this year, we're going around a lot of that,
I know.
as you can see.
It does. It takes us back towards VCP 55 and 56, where we would typically be in that cross grain stuff that's right alongside the mountain range right there.
And no matter how many times you pre-run, it doesn't seem like you got the line.
It never. There's so many different lines in there. I have yet to hit it perfect on where I wanted to go. So, but now we're missing it altogether, and coming into and doing Azufre wash backwards, which this is actually one of my favorite washes besides Matomi in the San Felipe area.
You know what's really beautiful about it is there's some great sandstone off to the side, like some almost looks like carvings.
Yeah.
It's not, but it's rain carved by God. It's just really pretty in there. And it's starting to get a little bit more raced on, but hopefully with the water, it's all cleaned up and maybe opened up some new lines, moved some rocks around. It's going to make it a little bit interesting.
Yeah, for sure. And then as you get into like race mile 225 and closer to VCP 60, it really narrows up into a tight little canyon. Prior to getting to there, it's almost like you're on the moon, like these little moon rocks.
Yep.
And not a lot of vegetation. And then it gets into this little box canyon that shoots you out into where VCP 60 is. And it's kind of it's slow running, but it's kind of really cool.
For many years, and traditionally we call this Chinate wash we're coming out of. I don't know if that's actually 100% accurate because there's been some jumbling of the names of the washes.
Yeah.
But we're going to come out through this wash and return back to what's known as Old Portecitos Road. You can see above there at VCP 57, we turn into Azufre, come around down the other wash, and at VCP 63, rejoin Old Portecitos Road. And what Old Portecitos Road is, the pole line road that goes from San Felipe down towards Matomi, but that was the original route before there was pavement along the coast. And just heads up, everybody, that pavement over there, really dangerous. Lots of big dips.
Saw some major washouts in it.
Yeah, there's some
from the
big
storm.
washouts over there. Just, people that aren't familiar with it, or even people that are familiar with it, don't race the chase trucks. You got to really take it easy, be smart about what you're doing, because there's a lot of dangers over there. But
If you break your chase truck, you're not going to get there to help the race car.
that's for sure.
I tell you what, I don't know about you, but Portecitos Road, I don't that road has never gotten any better from the first time I've
The
run on it.
Portecitos Highway or the
No,
old
the old
Portecitos?
Portecitos where the race course is.
I'm surprised,
Oh.
because that is the power lines.
Yeah.
I always thought, hey, someday they're gonna
Blade it?
Blade it, yeah.
no.
Oh God!
No
And as you get
blading.
closer to as we're going to go further down to towards the sulfur mine, it just gets cross grain nasty. I remember for San Felipe coming the other way. Once we hit that, I'm like, oh God! By that time you're already close to being done, and just get me to Chinate and Azufre, get me off of this thing.
He's talking about that area at race mile 245. That's where you come through the mining facility. At VCP 64, we're going to make a turn, and that's going to take us out to what I call the yellow bumps. There's a whole lot of kind of beige yellow desert out here filled with all kinds of beautiful whoop-de-doos and cactus. You can see they've added a quagmire of VCPs over here where there was some creative racing going on.
They want you to go up here for sure. You can't just go straight.
That's accurate, it looks like to me. Then it does open up. You'll see that there's no VCPs there. There's a lot of vegetation, though. Although it's not super thick, it is really tough to navigate if you're trying to get off course. You can see where some of the limited cars have gone out and around, but no one's ever found a better way to get through there than the race course. And then you'll get to VCP 69, which is basically the chute that takes you down into Matomi Wash. And Ryan, you can talk about the beauty and how spectacular Matomi Wash can be, also how desolate.
It is. Unfortunately, we're not seeing the northern part of Matomi, but even the southern part is really cool because it kind of narrows itself up and gets a little more technical. There's not as many lines from VCP 69 to let's say close to race mile 275 where it opens back up again. But just a really cool area. And I was talking to Ed Herbst, and he just ran it. I believe it was last week, and he was one of the first ones on it, and no tracks at all, and he says it was like a freeway once he entered the wash, and he says absolute blast from there all the way out to Portecitos Highway at VCP 70.
Right, and
Yeah.
so it's interesting. We're going to come out, get on the highway, and head south. And this is a construction zone right now, and this is where some of the water damage also has occurred. So heads up here, we'll be on the highway/dirt road. They've been cutting that up, trying to improve Highway 5. Eventually, that's going to connect, and I think that eventually we're going to see. I can't guarantee it, but we're going to see a big change in the highway through San Felipe as well, sometime in the next 15 years. Highway, not my favorite, but
All the
part
way
of
down.
it, the speed zone there.
It's almost, I don't know about you, but it takes more brain power for me to make sure I'm going 60 or 37 in a trophy truck than it is for me to race.
For sure.
I'm on edge. Okay, because with those things you're not holding it at 37. You're not holding it at 60. Even though we have limiters now, you can drive through limiters. You're constantly watching GPS. Looking ahead, GPS looking ahead, and it's a pain in the ass.
Those penalties will add up quick if you're going 62 for a few miles there.
And it's easy. I mean, if you're going 58, 59, all of a sudden, boom, you're 61.
If you go down a hill, it'll go right over it.
Yeah.
And this section here, jump off at VCP 71. This is an area known as Punta Bufeo. Down south, you can see the beach there. Beautiful little zone.
And we did this for Nora.
This is on the old road. We did race it at Nora 2 years ago.
And this year as well.
I wasn't there this year, but this is a cool section. But be careful where you see the VCPs. There's a giant hole over rise or cliff into the wash. You got to make a hard left here and go down to 74 and then loop back into the wash. And it's soft out there as well. Lots of big rocks.
But right when you make that turn into that wash, there's some really big ones. And like you're saying too, there's some really, really big ditches. It looks like a fast road, and it is. But you have some really good drop-offs on some of those. So it's nothing you're staying pinned on.
Yeah, and south of that, be careful because there's a lot of rolling hills. I haven't seen the water damage from the storms. Be careful.
Got a couple dangers.
There's a couple dangers for sure, but even not marked, there's rolling hills out there that look like fun to go hauling butt over, but you probably should be very careful. Make sure your head's up on the pre-running. Then you're going to jump back on the highway. You're going to go through Gonzaga down there. There is a PMEX down there. Doesn't always have everything you need fuel-wise. Across the street is the Oro Grande, I believe, is the name of the store.
And last I heard, and this was a week ago, Gonzaga did have fuel. So I don't know if you've heard any more or not since then.
I have not. I have not heard more about it. But usually, they've been doing a pretty good job of keeping fuel down there. Now with the highway conditions, that might limit the amount of fuel or how often the fuel is going, or how consistent it can be. So heads up with that. Plan ahead. Then, of course, you're going to get off onto the east side of the highway. This is a section that was newly developed 2 years ago, battling through these washes here. I think it's a cool section that they added in.
And it's nice just to get off the highway again and get off of our 60 so we actually go racing again. So I like the fact that we're doing that.
I concur. Be careful when you come back to the highway there. This is where the main part of the construction's happening. Or where the bridges are all being built, so be real careful if where you're on the highway or your chase trucks are. There's also a little bit of a silt patty there, or at least there was when we raced through there before you turn onto the highway. There's kind of a tricky little right-left in there.
It's amazing how much rock they blew up. That blows me away.
If you haven't seen it, it's crazy what they're doing. But
they're going straight through mountains. I mean, they're not finding ways around it. They're blowing mountains up.
Yeah, 100%. This is an all-new section. A lot of people have not seen this. We actually have ridden our dirt bikes out here quite a few times. There's a couple routes that we've been out on. There's old two tracks. There's an old mining facility out here. I'm not exactly sure where it runs to, but I think it goes right to the edge of the old mining facility in there. But this section probably would be known as the Cocos Loop. You're going to cut off Highway 5 or the road on Highway 5, and you're going to head out into this little slice of desolateness. Be really wary of this because one thing that you'll realize, and I believe it's going to be on this outbound right about race mile 355, there are some gigantic boulders in there, and it is just barely wide enough for a vehicle to get through. For those of you that haven't been in there, so just heads up. It's been a good road over the years. I just don't know what to expect now. I haven't seen it in probably 3 years. Then you're going to get on what is traditional race course opposite direction at
From
BCP 84. And that's the road out to Calamaway. You'll be coming back in to Cocos or near Cocos and going across. And again, this is a new section that has not been raced. not that I know of anyway.
I haven't done it.
And I actually have not even been on part of this section.
Looks a little technical in this section.
Originally, the rumor was the highway was going to go right through there on the other side of that little mountain below there. But they ended up moving it up closer to the mountains, as you can see on the eastbound side there. But yeah, new technical stuff, heads up. You're going to merge back onto Highway 5. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be a ton of traffic. So heads up, there's going to be a lot of people out there, whether they're spectators, chasers, road crew, tractors can be in different spots. If you pre-run one day, the next day there could be something different there.
Now,
So
is this dirt or is this paved, this section now?
That section through the mountain is still dirt.
Okay.
They have a lot of gravel. They put a lot. Last time I was through there for Nora this year, that they have a lot of gravel down. So it's the road's in really good shape. I can't.
Could be
say
very
too much already.
dusty.
Yeah, no, it'll be for sure be very dusty. So, but you're gonna have two-way traffic too. So
Yeah.
and with the construction, and it's not gonna be a perfect road.
For sure. And what you're seeing there is where it looks like end speed zone 12 at race mile 375. That's on the road where people are traveling right now. The highway part there is not complete, or wasn't last time I was there a couple weeks ago. So we'll have to see if there's two-way traffic on that as well. So you'll get into Chapala. This is what you'd call the bottom of the race course, the southern end.
Yep.
You're at race mile 380 more or less. This is not a huge area. There's plenty of space to pit and get everybody pit and stuff like that. Just remember, pitting on the highway is illegal. You got to be off the highway, and be careful. There's semi trucks, and the highway is still open for traffic, so it's something to think about. Now this section, I don't know what kind of love affair you have with this, but I'll tell you.
This is the gnarly section.
Love hate.
Right here, this is where it gets real. For the people that haven't been out here, this is real. I mean,
to me, this is the toughest. This is the most mental part of the entire race. I think.
Yeah, this is what I would call the never never. We call everything south of El Rosario before Gran Negro on the dirt bike trips. We call it the never never. But this is remote never never Baja. Never gonna see anyone. Never anybody coming to help you. Never, 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 exclamation point. No cell phone service, no nothing. There is no services at Chapala other than a very small tire store.
Yep. No gas.
No gas.
The next gas stop, if you're lucky, is going to be Catavina. And usually they do have fuel, so something to consider when you're pre-running, especially if Gonzaga didn't have anything. The next place you're going to be able to go is either go all the way into Bay of LA or backtrack to Catavina and try to and hope for the best there.
Now, unless you're a class 11, because they get to take the highway
And
up here.
sportsmen or just 11s?
I'd have to double check on that. I know for sure it's class 11, probably sportsmen too. I would imagine.
I don't know for sure, so don't quote me. I was just asking you the question. I wasn't sure. I haven't read all of the rules.
I'm not sure, but we did have a viewer say that this is where it does start, is at 380 there. So if you're in a class 11, you don't have to do this next section.
Now we're at 380. You have anybody that's jumping in? I mean, I see a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, a lot of comments. A lot of people are talking to each other. Not so many questions.
Cody from our race team saying some of that's paved now down there.
Yep, before
talking about.
Yep, before coming back across the highway. I think he was talking about this section here.
Oh, and Dennis Hollenbach is there saying that that's where the class 11 bypass starts at 380.
Yep.
Dave Davenport says no fuel in Catavina. There is definitely not a
No
PMX.
fuel
There's one being built there.
Yeah, and it's not done yet.
It's not done, but
You got the guys with the cans.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Sometimes you can barrel gas.
Yeah, maybe.
It's pretty often that you can get it there, but
Yeah.
when you're in a big race situation and there's a lot of people there, I mean,
They're
going
gonna
to
be sold out quick.
Everything's overwhelmed. They're not. They're probably planning for it, but okay. So let's take a look at this whole straightaway from the highway to VCP 86 at about race mile. Let's see, right here where it says race mile 405. Myself and Cody Stewart, Clyde Stout, and Justin Smith all spent the night there one night.
How was it?
Well, it was not fun. We were pre-running the 2003 Baja 1000. They actually ended up taking the segment out of the race that year.
After that,
Because of the silt.
After you spent the night?
There was a lot of people complaining. It was true funny story is we were there, spent the night. We had piss poor planning, to say the best. We were pre-running there about 1:30 in the morning or 2 in the morning. And true story is I got out one cell bar on
you did. Wow.
one of my buddy's cell phones from the points out there. I don't know where it connected to or how, but I was
that's God
able
right there. That's God.
to talk to my wife for 1 minute. But anyway, this area in here going down to, I believe it's Punta Blanco, there's a lot of silt. And coming down to it, if you go back by the highway real quick, Austin, Come across the dry lake bed there. It could be wet if there's rain, so heads up on that. But then you're going to start zigzagging down these mountains. And this is real rocky stuff here right after. You see all the zigzags going down. It heads down into the valley down by this other small lake bed. And this is where you're still zigzagging down. And then at the end, I haven't been here. I was so mad at it. I haven't been back since 2003. But you start going downhill zigzags. And when we raced it upward, the uphill was silt.
Yeah.
Which it won't be on the downhill portion.
No, yeah.
And I think this is going to be less silty this year because it's downhill.
They already have a marker for silt here even.
There's going to be silt.
There
There's going to be
will be,
silt.
yeah.
And the interesting thing about there being silt is there's not only silt, but there is quite a bit of cactus everywhere. So it's not like it's just easy to drive around, but I must caution you, just be really careful.
Cody said he was there for 2 nights.
Cody was there for 2 nights. That's actually true. We helped Mike Voiles. We had seen him broken on the coast. Then we got stuck, spent the night. He came along the next morning. He had a broken part in his truck and couldn't keep going. So we went out to the highway. My chase crew already spent the night on the highway. We let Voiles use one of our vehicles to go down to a junkyard in Guerrero Negro. Come back, and then
Guerrero Negro?
Yes, and then we drove him in to get the part. And then on the way back out, Cody lost the transmission in our 12-car pre-runner. And he spent another night. And then he was saved by the legend, Class 5 racer now. Been around forever. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank.
Cody will tell us, I'm sure.
Cody will tell us his name. And Patrick Daly saying.
So this section right here is nothing to mess around with.
No, I mean if you're
the whole section the whole Baja 1000 is nothing to mess around with.
Well, of course, but this section,
this is remote.
This is where you want to spend your time, especially if you're doing this section. Do your homework.
And there's no good chase access out to here.
There isn't.
That's the biggest thing.
Yeah, Catavina backwards at that point is. Not
so
that
if you're broke,
don't go backwards. But there is nothing.
Yeah.
So,
if you're broke, you're here until the race is over, basically.
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah. So the other thing too is it's not just the fact that you have the silt in that section. You have the rocks, and it's really technical, especially as you get a little bit further north. In years past, we've also had issues with weather. Now I don't mean like rain and stuff, but when there is no wind and it is dead still, all that dust just hangs and sits. And you maybe you had a bike guy go through there 15 minutes ago. That dust on a bike is still sitting, and so it makes it very, very difficult to see no matter what class you're in if that comes to fruition.
Yeah.
I hope it doesn't. I hope we have a little bit of wind through there, but that section just gets nasty.
It was Perry McNeil.
Perry McNeil, that's what I'm trying to think about. See,
Cody came through.
Cody always comes through.
There you go. All right, well, let's move up the course
right here. Fortunately, I had some opposite direction pre-running from race mile 420 down to that highway there, or the silt beds, because we ran our bike trip through there last year in 2017. This is all real remote, very tight 2-track. There's at least there's 2 really good rocky climbs in there that definitely got to be careful of. There's some footage in one of our TV shows actually of the Raptors coming down that, and then you're going to head back up through. There's a little lake bed we're going to run along the side of VCP 88. I think that's obviously trying to keep you from dropping down on there and going around that. Then we're going to race up to some of this remote section. We sent Cody out here to chase not too long ago. Actually, true story. We were out here on a motorcycle trip and found some people that were out there camping, and they got lost, and they were just kind of out in the never out there. And they were good. They got out of there, but it was pretty gnarly to come up on them somewhere up there in that VCP 90 area. Then you're going to loop back down and cut across. So this is kind of the high road, or the more eastern way through this section, because when you come out this big graded road to the south, normally that would be out to the Seven Sisters, but you're not really going out to the points. You're up on the high road. There's a pig ranch out there, and then eventually you're going to junction on to, I believe it's right down here, if I'm not mistaken. You'll see the big graded road somewhere we come in on. I think right here, VCP 92. Gets a little bit less. No, it's not. Oh, maybe. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. That comes out of the mountains a little bit.
Comes
and
out of
down.
the mountains, gets on to more of a well-known road.
That's actually a fun road, especially as you get closer to Catavina. It's got a little bit of a sandy base for it. It's got a lot of grip.
We call it the Big White Road because you can see how
looks white.
How white it is. It's also known as the El Faro Road. This road's going to come out. This is a real fast road, graded. It's really well taken care of for the most part. I can't tell you what it looks like after the rains, but it accesses the fish camps on the north end of the Seven Sisters. There's a couple little mountain passes you go through, shrine to go by, and then you're going to start racing out past La Bocana, and that's the big river valley here, and at 470, and then you'll still be on the big graded road, and that's going to take you to the road crossing at Catavina. So more or less, that's a 100-mile loop in the middle of nowhere from Chapala to Catavina.
Yep.
And that's you really
will have a big impact on the race, that section.
Yes,
that's
it
for
will.
sure. Yeah.
Yes, it will. And you want to, if you're a race car driver, you don't want to be a race car driver in that section.
Now, I bet you most people, if they're switching out, you think they put in their new driver before that section?
I'm not going to talk about tactics with people.
Other people, in theory.
For those.
If it was me, I would get out for that section.
For those that are
or get in.
That are new at this, and that's going to be your section. God bless you. Do your homework. I wouldn't recommend putting a new guy in a section like that.
Yeah. A new guy meaning a rookie.
A rookie, yeah.
A rookie.
I do.
If you have three people, you don't want to give the new guy
for
that
sure.
section.
I do agree with you. I mean, with what you guys said too, is that 100-mile section is you're in survival. You're trying to clean it. No flats. No getting stuck. You're not racing. So you just got to get through it.
Right, for sure. Hopefully, you guys are enjoying this preview, courtesy of Team Ford on Fishgistics. Feel free to share it. Feel free to tag Team Ford in your post as well. You're going to cross the highway and you're going to get on back down a little bit, fish there. That's old Highway 1 or old Transpeninsula Highway. It wasn't called Highway 1, I don't think, but that was the route before the pavement came in. And
that's fun. Actually, fun
through
there. Big rocks through there, big boulders, but
sure.
It's really technical, really fun, and the road's actually really good for the most part. Every year it has been. Once again, I don't know what the weather's done to it until you get to close to the Guayaquil area, and then once again you're back into some silt.
Silt. There's plenty of it right here.
Yep.
This area is really.
I've gotten stuck in there before.
Yeah.
A matter of fact, I think it was 14. It was 14 I run to La Paz, and I was behind you, and just made a bonehead move and buried it in there.
Yeah, it's not a good place to be not unfamiliar with it, and to be racing in the dust is really tough because those silt beds just kind of pop up on you.
Absolutely.
And you can see there's a lot of VCPs up there going around Race Mile 500. You're going to come down and zigzag through some ranches out here. This is a kind of a cool section. We haven't ran very many times. I think they started using this about 3 years ago to get to the highway here at Highway number 1 at Race Mile 535. So more or less another 55-ish mile loop off the highway.
Then you have that one silt section where it says silt on there, but next to VCP 105. There's a lot of lines through there. As long as you don't get stuck in the mix of it, you drop into a wash. The wash is really good actually, and there's just that one silt section trying to get up and out of there. But there's a lot of lines. Do your homework, figure out where you can and can't go, and it's going to get worse as the days go on and it gets closer to the race.
Yeah, that's for sure.
100%.
Yeah,
it's not going to get better, folks.
Nope.
So there's no short highway.
I will
zone,
say this:
like.
if you pre-run in a nice, calm manner, without spinning your tires or smashing it up, you will not rip it up as much.
Thank you for mentioning that.
You're not racing the silt beds in the pre-run, and it's you donkeys that are out there that have to go hauling the mail through there, banging on both sides of it, spinning your tires, that are ripping that silt up. Mm-hmm. Because really, it doesn't have to be a giant 8-lane silt bed.
No.
You can just be calm through it. And if you're going to make a line around the side of the silt, you can just cruise through it, and it might last there. The locals do the very same thing. They drive around it right next to it, but they don't spin their tires, so it never becomes another silt bed.
I was just having this conversation this week with somebody, and I'm the same way. I'll come through there and I'll roll through it, and then I look behind me to see if the crust has moved, and it's perfect still. Right. And I'm thinking to myself, why can't everyone just do that? If they do that, everyone's fine, because it's not so much for the trophy trucks unless you're in somebody's desk, which you can't get stuck. But once we come through the race, we tear it up. So if it's already screwed up before we get there,
it's going to be even worse.
10 times worth after we've gone through. So just go easy. Just go easy through it. Yep, or go around it.
And this next section here, where you jump off the highway at around 538, this is traditionally known as the Boojum Highway out here. Cody can back me up on that, I think. But This section has some beautiful Baja, some fast running, but also some real scary corners come up on you, some overrise off to the side.
Especially right between like 550 and actually VCP 108, and that whole section right there. It gets it's two track. You're off cliffs, like Cameron's saying, overrise, hard rights, hard lefts. So before you jump into that wash.
For sure. And then you'll drop down a really tight little zigzag grade into the wash that is just outside of the El Rosario Bridge at Highway 1. Caution to those of you sending a pit out there or sending people out there. That's two-way traffic, very dusty in that canyon. And it's just really, really, take it very easy. There's a lot of farms out there, a lot of irrigation pipes and holes dug. So just be super, super careful. If you happen to be out there. This starts a section that used to be really remote through Nuevo York and stuff like that. This is a much shorter section.
Some of this the same as the 500?
No, we're further north of the 500 right
Okay.
now.
So you're north of El Rosario, so you bypass El Rosario through the mountains, and this road has become last time I was there we raced Baja Rally here maybe 4 years ago, and I was blown away with how big the road was. I'm not sure if we're running on that big road, but it looks like it.
We got a comment. Dave Davenport says, careful at 570 for the mountain climb. So right in here, I guess there's a mountain climb. Be careful of.
Cool. Dave was just out there. I think he just did a trip. He was on the peninsula for a week and a half, so he would probably know. But that section I haven't really seen in the last few years. I don't know if you've been out there.
No, I haven't. I actually haven't in the last couple of years. I think the 2016 we ran a portion of that going the other way.
This section we've run a number of times recently. VCP 113, leaving the wash at El Socorrito or El Socorro is what this area is known as. Turn up into the mountains. There's a lot of coastal agave in here.
Yeah.
And a lot of sneaky corners here. Heads up for sure. And
I tell you, in 2016, just in this area here, from let's just say from 590 back into San Quintin into the flats, once again, I was the second truck through there, and zero wind. I couldn't see anything, nothing from there all the way up to Colonette. Visibility was horrible.
Wow.
Because there was zero wind. You think the opposite, being next to the coast, you would get something. We had nothing that year.
And to boot, sometimes along that coast, especially when the water's still kind of warm, you could get coastal fog and haze, and that's just adds to the brutal nature of the dust. That's going to bring you to Highway 1, back into the speed zone, 37 miles an hour there. That's known as the old Highway 1. You're actually running on a race mile 600. The highway used to go through there, but they got tired of the highway getting blown out by that wash there that heads into the bay in San Quintin, and they built a bridge up higher and ran the highway up there. When you turn left there, you're going to be in like a little bit of a marshy zone. VCP 121 goes right by a cemetery. Be respectful when you're pre-running there, just on the outskirts of San Quintin south. And then you're going to run right through the guts of the side of San Quintin, which we've done a number of times here. Cross the old mill road and zigzag across through there. We saw when we were on our Cabo trip a couple weeks ago or a week ago. I don't even know how long ago that was. We saw all the course markers in there. We were actually running backwards on what would eventually be the race course.
Yeah.
Thankfully, we had a helicopter and no one was supposed to be pre-running yet. These foothills outside San Quintin are no joke. There's been a lot of good racing in there. There's some VCPs. Heads up, there's going to be a lot of people in here. There's a lot of people in the San Quintin Valley that love off-road racing, so be really careful.
This is going to be at night for most of these people too.
Just a little bit to like VCP 130.
Yep.
Scroll in. So you come down, you cross over. It's like a little dike.
It's a dike and a river.
Right here. Yeah.
And when you cross over that, right after that, in years past, it's gotten, for that next mile, it's gotten really chewed up and bad. I'm going to say it's probably pretty decent right now, but just a little bit of heads up, between VCP 130 and 131, it tends to get a little nasty.
And you can see that little zigzag where it hops up on the dike there. It can be a little more tricky than it looks. You can't see over the top of it, so just heads up what you're doing there. And there's been a lot of people that get stuck right in this area. And as you're saying,
They try to go straight over it or something. And get stuck on
no,
it?
just it's not really totally as accurate as it looks on the picture.
They might have had it
Yeah.
gone around water when they were
Yeah.
marking it, but
Yeah.
you can just go straight up and over. But like Cameron's saying, when you come up to it, it's taller than your vehicle, and you can't see the other side. You come up, you come to the flat at the top of the road, and then you drop off the backside of it, and then jump into that little wash.
That's basically the flood control channel through San Catine area. Then you're going to get out onto some of the salt flats. You can have some white ice out here. The way it looks like they're running it, you're going around some of it, but white ice is basically white crusted wet dirt that is like being on a slip and slide in your truck or bike, so just be real careful. White ice or black ice can be both. The going
Jump on the
around here,
beach.
yeah, you're gonna jump on the beach. This used to be known as Gaston's. There was a restaurant here right on the beach. They've moved on, and now it's part of the Driscoll's farm. And we're gonna go around here, and this is a little bit different. We're gonna run up the wash, the San Domingo wash, and take you to Highway 1 once again.
Something to be careful with, and something I've seen in the past is just that even that small section on the beach. You're literally right next to the ocean. The tide changes, and what you pre-run with, the tide could have been completely different once you turn right and get onto that beach.
That's true.
You could have high tide at that point. So if you want to err on the side of caution and stay close to there's some palapas up there. Stay close to the palapas before you jump into that wash.
Check your tide chart.
Check the tide chart.
Yeah, don't mess around with the ocean.
Yeah.
It likes to swallow up vehicles. This is Camaloo. You're going to come through the backside of here. If I'm not mistaken, you'll go off through the farms and get on the big graded road past the Pirate Bar.
Now this is the 500 now.
And so now
So this
right,
is the same as the 500.
Yep, same as the 500
Okay.
now.
So you run up all along the beach here.
Yeah, like Cameron was saying, by that Pirates Bar, that's all pretty straightforward. There's for the 500, there was a number of I think there's 3 or 4 dangers on the graded road a little further south. They're actually
There's a
marked.
couple right
yeah,
here.
you can see them marked. There's another one down, and the road's completely washed out.
Yeah, right here.
And I can't imagine it's probably much better than what it was for the 500,
Few
and
of them in a
they're
row.
on super fast roads.
That
And,
142 is basically a wide open road right into as big a danger as you could imagine.
Like a hard 90, it looks
Yeah,
like.
Before that,
And you
no,
cannot-
that wash right
yeah.
there.
Oh, right
the
here
wash
even,
right
yeah,
there. See
yeah.
how you got to dip down through there? That's all blown out. That's all destroyed.
It's very deceiving when you're running at speed and you're looking at it because you can't see
Plus,
it.
there's a little bit of a crest going
Yep.
into it, so it kind of disappears.
Yeah.
So just real careful out there. Then there's another danger with the same type of washout just above VCP 143. You're coming up to what's traditionally known as shipwrecks. There's an old freighter that ran aground there in the late 70s. Another washout danger up the coast there, and this is shipwrecks in this area here.
Not much left of it anymore, huh?
No, there certainly isn't. Is that shipwrecks, right? Yep.
Yep, that's it.
Yep. And so then you're going to cut right out in front of it, and you'll go out across the.
Kind of some tidal flats that are there before you jump onto that good sandy.
That can be a little wet in there too.
It can, yeah.
Yeah, and then you'll head up into Cuatros Casas, VCP 146. There is a massive amount of silt in here, and they're running you through the silt line. You can see the 2 VCPs bookend the silt line. The line to the left is the access. No, this one right here
This one?
is actually the access to Cuatros Casas.
Some guys will pre-run. I've done that line to the left and then made my way back to 147. But I tell you what, in the race, typically they have people there, so you're not going to be able to. You're probably not going to be able to go through it.
That's another good point, Ryan. Just because you get there pre-running and it's open or available, don't count on it. If
Yeah,
there's
race
a road
day can be
there
totally
or a
different.
junction, there,
Yeah.
it's totally going to be different. There's going to
And
be tons of people.
And there's typically, like you said, there's a lot of people in this area right here. You got a lot of photographers doing night probably not, at this point. Obviously, it's going to be night, but
Yeah.
night shots through the silt because it's really deep silt all the way to VCP 147. It gets a little nasty in there.
And then you go by a big shrine there on the coast. Now you're going to jump up. This is the Colonet Wash. And we raced this a couple years ago. Jump in the wash and bypass Colonet Point and run all the way up underneath Highway 1. And then you're going to make a left turn, and you'll go underneath Highway 1 once again through a small tunnel and get up into the foothills here from VCP 153 to 155. That's newer stuff we've been running for the last 6 years. No one else is out there but racers and off-road enthusiasts. So I'm not saying don't go fast. I'm not saying go faster when you're pure. I'm just saying they're not grading it.
Yeah.
It's turned into pure crap. And then you're going to get on more traditional race course and well-used roads through the Johnson Ranch area. Then you're going to come up through some really lovely, beautiful whoops and crappy stuff in here. This stuff I don't think it's been graded in 2 decades. along the coast south of Arendia, VCP 161, and going up around the fields once again here, Ryan. It's good, I think, to stay out of the farming areas of Arendia.
It is, and the dirt has this orangish tint to it as well, and it tends to want to hang and be very thick in that area as well. So before you drop into that wash.
Yep, careful in the wash. Lots of people.
It's usually a booby trap or two in here too. Usually,
absolutely,
very true,
absolutely. And then this year, for the unlike the 500, we went all the way to the beach.
Yeah, it looks like they turned a little
now
earlier
they're
here.
turning us out and taking us around those houses that we typically run in front of. We're not running the rocks like we've done at the 500 in years in the past.
Yep. Andy will be glad we don't do that
get
section.
Stuck in the mud right there. Yeah. So, and I think part of that road is getting washed out.
Well, the traditional road through Arendia, we're just there. It's dropped into the ocean. And so this bypass that you're in a speed zone where it goes across the...
This is 37 speed zone, not 60.
You're going to come to the pavement and turn left and turn immediate right off, and you're going to go around through VCP 170. That's the town bypass. Everybody's using that. That's the main road right now because here at this corner in this area, as you can see, it runs along about a 40 to 60 foot tall bluff, and some of that's dropped into the ocean.
I can imagine, like, you can see the houses just below that. We used to run behind
right
those houses right there.
Used to go on this road right here.
At some point, if that's happening, those poor houses are going to end up in the ocean.
I know this wall's been taken out a few times.
We actually raced
right there. It's exactly what we did. Yep.
Wow.
So, and that's all gone.
That's gone.
It's gone. Yep.
Eventually, it's all going to drop into the Pacific. Well, Arizona's going to have beachfront land, they say. So we'll see.
So this is all still 37 this whole way here.
Through Arendia. Coyote Cows here is a great place to stay. Rick and Todd own that. It's a hostel, and they can serve food there and organize for you there if you want at the end of speed zone 17.
Looks like we have a little detour from all of our years past. I don't think I've ever done this. Just past 705, north. Typically, we stay to the right. You can see the course goes up further. Up
higher. He's talking.
Oh, right here.
No, that's
a little further up. I'm sorry, right there. VCP 170.
Oh, right here.
Yeah. See where it goes around.
So way back in the dark ages of 1600 racing, we had a line through there. Way back when, but it's not faster anymore. But it looks like they are forcing us down there. That I think part of the reason why they're putting us in there is to keep us off that downhill right turn in the rocks. It gets really ripped up in there. And I was just there. There's some big rain ruts in there as well. So we'll see how it looks when we get there. But that is a bit of a different change, Ryan, for sure. And then up through some of this beach section. This is called, is it Calavera? Where the big hill is?
Yeah, that's what this road is called.
Oh,
okay. Yeah,
La Calavera Road.
There you go. This point here, I think it's called Calavera.
When you finally leave the coast and start heading towards Santo Tomas.
Yeah, right here. It goes back inland.
Yep.
And that's going to take you up through some really mostly high-speed graded roads. Be careful. There's lots of turns, as you can see, and they're zigzagging.
There's going to be two-way traffic pre-running. I had an incident almost into Santo Tomas, and I was really going at least 10 miles an hour, and I had an incident with a guy coming the other way.
The better the graded road is, the faster the cars coming at you are going.
So just use caution until you get into Santo Tomas. Absolutely down the hill. Please use caution.
So you got about 100 miles to go at this point in the race.
VCP 175, hard right turn. Yes, you're on the Santo Tomas road, and you're going to come out there about 100 miles to the finish, right when you think it's going to get nicer.
Yeah. And it does for a minute when you get on the highway right here.
Yeah. And it's actually not, leading up to Santo Tomas, it's actually fun. It's
pretty easy.
It's easy.
Just
it's
be
a fun
smart.
road.
Yeah.
It's a graded road.
This turn right here at Race Mile 370 has been missed quite a few times.
This left?
730?
Yeah, so 730. Sorry, did I say that backwards? That's the dump. There's been plenty of
you can see it right
race
here,
cars off the edge there. You guys be careful.
It tightens up at speed.
To say the very least. Speed zone through Santo Tomas, heads up, be careful. Speed zone on the highway, that's going to bring you to Arapan, or Europan, as it's popularly known. This is a great stop over here where speed zone 19 ends. That's
last pits.
Juan
a lot of people maybe
and
do
his
here too.
family at Acombro there. They do have
it's a great place.
Great place. They have clean bathroom and food service, and you can always hang out with Juan and Juanito and marlin and the whole family, and then you're going to get up into these mountains, which can be really tricky and dangerous for sure.
I tell you what, you're getting closer to the end, and this section from Uruapan back to Ojos again, to me, is one of the most technical of the race course itself, and it's not a place you can relax, but it's a place you're also getting tired at as well, because you've been in that vehicle for a long time at that point. So you definitely got to keep your head on straight for this section all the way back to Ojos.
Yeah, screw your head on straight.
Yep.
Be safe. This is going to take you through a bunch of. This basically was all. There was some routes in here, but a lot of this was recut to take the race course through, so we could get off the Uruapan road long ago. Then you are going to junction onto some known graded roads, 2 tracks, as you get back to area known outside of Tres Hermanos, then into Ojos Negros. So you'll see that you're off on some really crappy stuff right next to the road there, and that's where the pre-run is going to end. You'll race back into Ensenada. Likely on a little bit different route than you came out on. I don't have that intel as of yet. But
Yeah, they haven't released it.
that's pretty much
officially
the
yet.
notes
Yeah.
for the pre-run.
For the 500,
Yes.
obviously, it broke off where it says begin, end, and we made our way back to Highway 3, and then we jumped on the highway for a while to the Pepsi stand. So I don't know if they're going to continue to do that this year, or if we're going to go into Ojos and go around. I mean, there's a whole other section behind Ojos that is taxing on you as well, just when you think you're at the end.
We'll see. We'll see what Jose G and his crew throw at us, because he likes a tough race course for sure.
Absolutely.
He gets a kick out of it, I think. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of what Jose G has been doing. Do we have any questions?
Not yet, but if you guys want, go ahead and ask your questions now. And while we do the next segment, we'll load up some questions, and then we can ask them.
Brad Wilson from Wilson Motorsports saying he doesn't even need to pre-run.
He's got this. He's got it.
For us. That's not true. You nothing more than you need to do than go pre-run. Be safe out there, you guys.
What do you
Don't
pre-run in?
What do I pre-run in? I actually, we've been really fortunate. Our sponsors have been very helpful, and we are now pre-running in our original trophy truck, all prepped from the ground up, brand new, like it's going to the race, which kind of makes me cry a little bit, because it's got like all new Brembo rotors and pads.
And you're going to put more miles on that than your other race truck.
Put 5,000 miles on it, but it has all the exact same parts that our trophy truck does, so it's virtually pre-running in the race truck.
It's amazing. I mean, the sucky part about it is it costs a lot of money. It takes a lot to be able to be put in that position. But truly, it is the best way you can go pre-run if you're racing trophy truck.
Yeah.
If you're racing Class 1, you should be in a car very similar to what you're racing in Class 1.
100%.
Sometimes we don't all have that luxury, but same thing. I mean, I'm pre-running in the old Volkswagen Touareg, and
So
it's
your old
still
trophy truck.
the old trophy truck. So so your lines stay similar. I mean, I'm in 40-inch tall tires, so just
What
like
a
the race truck,
difference.
it makes a big difference. But yeah, I said I used to pre-run in a Beam 2-seat buggy, and beat the living crap out of me for years and years and years. I know you did the same thing,
Yeah.
or your motorcycle. So I was very fortunate for a lot of years to be able to pre-run with Ivan.
We are those
and learn
guys,
a lot
aren't
down
we?
there.
We're
Yeah,
those guys.
I know, huh?
I can't believe that happened. How did that happen? But looking at some of the questions coming in,
Somebody's asking when the race starts for the bikes.
I don't have that exact information. I can tell you what the rumors are. Does it have it in the information reading?
So it looks like 3:15 a.m. on Friday is staging for the bikes. The bikes start racing at 4 a.m. Friday.
Wow.
So 4 a.m. Friday is the bike start. That's on the Score website right now, looking at it.
It says, Ryan, are you going to bump Robbie out of the way? If he's in my way, I will.
Yeah, for sure. Why not? Nothing like bumping old
Thanks,
Rob.
Kyle. Yeah.
He loves that. He
Absolutely.
loves that kind of stuff. But yeah, speaking of Rob, there's a heated pack of racers for sure. We had, I think, 30 at qualifying, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
Not
30,
totally
yep,
sure.
30.
Yeah, it looks like 30 with the
Yep.
legends included.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. The thing that worth noting too is that the legends are racing for the overall. So they are in capable trophy trucks. They just choose not to race with the full donkeys, which I would consider us such. You can see these are the qualifying results. Are these up right now?
No.
Or are they looking at us?
I can put them up,
Hi.
though, maybe.
I thought we were looking at the qualifying
No, we're not.
results.
No, those are just there for when we do our picks.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you guys can
yeah,
see.
yeah,
These are the
Picks,
picks.
Sure.
How did you feel at qualifying?
I felt terrible.
Did you?
Yeah, to be honest with you, I've been really trying not to obsess about qualifying. I've been trying to not worry about it, not overthink it, not over set up, and made a little mistake on my setup, which really cost us. I thought we drove pretty well. I mean, we're only like 1 second out of 8th place or something like that, right?
That's a big difference in this qualifying, 1 second.
Yep, and we left a couple seconds up there. We made a mistake in a turn, but really the mistake I don't want to share with everybody cost us on the whole 2 laps.
Yeah.
And that was my fault 100%, and I'll take it for the team. But, we qualified 12th and then, 13th now that someone submitted a video.
No, you're still 12th.
Oh, we are?
Or no, you're 13th. Sorry, yeah. But Cole Potts is not
gonna
racing, so
supposedly
you're
drop
technically 12th.
I'm all good with
I
13,
think.
whatever. I used to hate that, but we just did our 13th trip to Cabo. This is our 13th year of trophy truck racing.
But you're still in a good group too.
As long as you're in the first 20, I think you're
Yeah.
good. Or as long as you're in the fast pack.
Yeah.
And you just don't. What you're trying to avoid is having someone right in front of you that doesn't have their Baja chops.
Yep.
That they're searching for their mojo. They're trying to figure out where they are. Something like that.
Well, I mean, it's a good point because, like we mentioned, when we were going through the mapping. Really, the only place that's going to start lending itself to passing is mile 150.
Yeah.
So if you get behind a donkey between the start and 150, and you can't get around them because the risk is too high.
So
those guys are checking out in front of you.
Looking at the first 16 trucks or 15 trucks. Really, there's only one driver that doesn't spend a ton of time in Baja in there, and that's not our problem. Let me see it is your problem. 2 in front of you, 3 in front of you would be Todd Tolles, who is Dale Dondell starting.
Yeah.
Did a great qualifying run. He just doesn't spend a ton of time in Baja. So the question mark is, how fast is he going to go? How much knowledge is he going to have? Is it possible that he holds up some of that group? I mean, Dale is probably one of the fastest racers
For sure. No
in our
question about
sport.
that, yeah.
So I wouldn't think that would be the case, but that's kind of the stuff that I look at.
But you know what? How about this? I've had 2 people who I'm not going to say who they were text me in the last hour and say, so Cole Potts is not racing his truck, right? Robbie Gordon is racing. So knowing Robbie Gordon, and he's very strategic, what if he puts somebody in Cole Potts' truck?
It has to be Cole.
Okay, so what if Cole starts in there and goes a little slower right behind Robbie to hold everybody up for a while? Going through the start there, you guys know you could hold somebody up easily and then just start going a little faster and then hold them up.
God, I would hope.
You think they would do that?
I would hope not. You kind of have your doubts a little bit, but crap, you would hope not. Because
but if you were Robbie, would you do it?
I don't know if he would do it, but I'll tell you this: if they do that in front of Bryce Menzies, he's going to blow that truck off the highway.
That's true. That's true.
Bryce isn't going to put up with that. He's got the 4-wheel drive, those tight mountains leaving Ojos Negros. And I think it's a great conversation to have just about the 4-wheel drives alone. I think we had 3 at qualifying. 2 of them did very well. Ricky Johnson, hats off to him for winning the pole for Team C Racing.
In the Larry Connor truck.
He was. I've tested that truck, and it is something.
Is that a 6-speed or is it automatic?
No, it's a 3-speed but paddle.
Oh, paddle.
It is something special, man. That thing goes. So I wasn't surprised, especially on a short course track, for that thing to do as well as it did.
And he spun out.
He spun.
Yes.
I was most impressed.
And he bicycled it.
Oh, I know he bicycled. I didn't see him spin out. If he did, he's an animal regardless.
Most impressive to me was Luke McMillan.
Luke did awesome.
Definitely.
He should be so proud of himself.
In that 5, 6, 7, 8 position, we kind of go out for that. Luke went out to qualify at the top. He's been really fever pitch. I was super impressed with his effort. I know they went out and did some testing.
At Elsinore,
Complete opposite of what we did. Last time we went out and tested, we actually rolled the truck testing and trying to do some different setups on the truck. So that's why I'm back to that. Let's not overthink it. Let's just get in the fast group and go and not worry about it. The only time we really tried hard to qualify was at San Felipe a couple of years ago. We finished 2nd, but we drove the crap out of the truck.
Yep.
And so we're actually going, that same motor is going to the race with us, like a lot of those parts.
Yeah.
So we're trying to be careful of it. But hats off to Luke McMillan.
He almost had it.
Lots of pressure there, to be honest with you.
Yep.
But we'll see how he handles it. I mean, he's one of the greatest off-road racers in our sport. He's a great pre-runner. I have a lot of respect for him.
The McMillans do their homework probably better than anybody out there. They spend the time. So
I would say that Luke is in the top 3 pre-runners in the sport right now. And by de facto, Dan is there with him.
Absolutely.
I know Luke really...
Luke spends a lot of time in the shop, too. I know, just overanalyzing every part of his truck.
I think what you said there, overanalyzing, that I think that's the part for Luke that he has to get out of. But that's up to Luke. And for me, it's fine if he overanalyzes it, but I think he just needs to take a deep breath and relax. Not worry.
Maybe he did before his qualifying. That's why he did so well.
Well, here's the thing I think is going to happen. I think Rob's going to get on rails there at the beginning and try to get to Luke.
Yeah.
in the tight mountain roads. You know, Rob has that mid-engine.
He could go pretty fast in that
'Cause
section.
Rob's got to go in the fast because in the
Yeah.
rough,
He's gonna have Cole. He's gonna have Bryce.
Well,
right
he
behind
knows
him.
Cole's going to be holding everybody up, so he's got a little bit of time there.
Well, I think that Bryce and Andy and Rob would just knock old Cole off the road if he was sneaking up the trail.
You would think. Well, yeah,
think
Bryce
so.
would for sure, like you said, with the 4-wheel drive.
Bryce ain't scared.
No.
Bryce ain't messing around.
So we
But
should put a
hats
rear
off to
view
Cole.
camera on
Hats
Cole's
off to
truck.
Cole. I mean,
He
he's
did a
fast.
great job.
He's
He did a great
fast.
job.
He
for
did.
sure.
I think his SST qualify or his SST racing has definitely helped him because he used to go fast and it seemed like he would crash or break or do something. Now he's going fast and like finishing, and doing good. So I think he's been racing the SSTs, which probably helps him a lot with the car control and
sure.
everything too.
Did we ever get like what the true story was behind Andy's missed time and same with Christian's missed time as well?
I did not get the true story. I just know that the times that they have awarded them now were the times. Like if you watch the video of it and you time it,
exactly.
these
Our
are what
video
they
shows
should
we were
be
1.25 seconds faster
than what you
than we
were.
were timed.
But that's-
But
Yeah.
we didn't submit a video.
I know that I think Bryce was his time was off a little bit from if you watch the video. So I don't know what
Let's just
happened
put
with
it
the
out
times
there,
a little bit.
100%. I don't care what organization it is. None of them have their qualifying timing down. I don't care if you have the transponder or not. The bottom line is the transponder sets off the timing tower at different positions for all the cars.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
care what you say. It can be 100 feet before it, or it can be 25 feet after it.
It's definitely timing it different than what you're timing it. But where I disagree a little bit is I know there's better systems out there, especially like to me, we're trying to make this sport better. And it doesn't I'm not picking on score by any means at all. I'm just talking about the sport in general, all the organizations. I can be at my house and watch a go-kart race in Alabama and have live timing. Not watch the race, I have live timing on my iPhone.
On your phone.
Why can't we do that for what we
can.
We
Yeah.
can. Why aren't we doing it is the next question.
I mean, the Lucas
And I know-
series has a really good handle on their timing, I think, for
That's the
qualifying.
same. They use the same type thing he's talking about. They use
Right.
the same system because it uses the same app.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to me that's a marketing and PR thing because you're watching guys. Oh, okay. I can see Cole's leading, Robbie's leading.
Yeah.
You can set up another beacon halfway through the loop, and it's going to give you segment times. Oh,
Yeah.
Robbie was quickest from the start to first segment. Luke was fastest second to. It just
Yep.
creates more excitement about what we're doing.
Yeah.
But we're not qualifying anymore, though, right? In score, there's no more qualifying next year. It goes off the race before.
I hope so.
That's what I've
Let's
heard.
do it.
It goes off every
Let's
race.
party.
So San Felipe goes off the King of the Hammers trophy truck race.
It
Goes off of that.
Why would
It
the
does.
score start go
Yep.
off the King of the Hammers?
Him,
That's a deal they made.
Dave and Roger got together
Yep.
and made a pact
sweet.
to do that. So,
Yeah, so that's your San Felipe starting order is your trophy truck King of the Hammers race finishing order. Then your Baja 500 starting order is going to be your San Felipe finishing order. Then your Baja 400 is going to be your 500, and the Baja 1000 is going to be your Baja 400 starting order. That's what I've
They had to
heard.
figure out a way to get people to that
So-
September race. So that's a good ploy for sure.
Some guys aren't gonna like that. If I was Roger,
DNF, it
I would
sucks,
probably do
but-
the same thing because you're trying to get people to come to your race.
Yeah.
So
you want to race the Baja 1000, you want a good start, you got to go race the Baja 400.
I may not agree with it all the time, but I get it. I understand.
I totally think that there should be some favor given to those people that race all the series, points or whatever. I think that I personally feel like the starting grid for the Baja 1000 should be reflective of a whole year's worth of effort. I think that third place off the line at the Baja 1000 should be the guy that won the Baja 500. Third place or fifth place off the line should be the guy that won the San Felipe 250. Seventh place should be the guy that won the 400, and then mix in there some kind of weighted scale of how, like last year's Baja 1000 winner should automatically get a top 10 start. Stuff like that. That would pay off your entire organization of all your races, and then you can play it down through, and then whoever isn't in that first 15 or 20, they just go random draw. One thing for sure, going to Las Vegas for an extra week or for an extra couple days, that's like racing another race.
Yeah.
My guys are out there prepping right now. They were prepping
Yep.
before, they're prepping after. It's just like going to another race.
We decided to leave the truck at SEMA just to get some more exposure for it. So they haven't even been able to go. Today I think is they're gonna get a chance to pull it out and bring it back and actually look it over.
Yep.
So now they're behind. They try to get it creates a big deal
Yeah.
for your guys.
Even
and
just
costs
today,
and-
we had like this 5-hour window we took out of the day we did something with Ford for some kids.
Yeah.
We took the race truck there. They had to put it all back together. They had to drive it off the trailer over there, and it took out, like, it crushed them for their prep schedule.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
we needed to do that. It's something we wanted to do. But I think it's cool. I think that Roger, Jose G, the whole crew are coming up with different ideas. I think it's great. I think the qualifying in Vegas was a great idea. Was I a fan of it? No, but I think that it was worthy of being a part of our race org.
It's still the cream rises to the top. If you look at the starting order, even though we qualified in a short course, whether you like it or don't like it, it's probably pretty close and pretty similar to if we were to go to Apex and go down at Apex.
Yeah,
it's pretty
in the
close,
desert.
really.
So it's probably pretty close. So
Yeah.
maybe one or two are off, but I'd say the bulk of it is probably there.
Yeah.
I think no matter what, usually when you get the first 20 guys are all going to be pretty similar. There's going to be some jumbling. Like I said, I don't know the exact times, but 1 second separates like 8th and 14th. Or
Oh, yeah.
like that,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
15th.
I mean, 18th is at 2 minutes exactly, and 1:59 is 14th. So there's 6 spots between every second
Yeah.
or so. It's
Yeah,
big difference.
It's pretty interesting, and I think that there's a lot of respect. There's a lot of good equipment, a lot of good teams. You look at that list of drivers. I would say that eight or nine of the first 15 trucks have a chance at winning this race. I mean, everybody has a chance.
Yeah.
But I would say there's probably 8 that have a.
Well, let's hear your picks. Let's do your picks. Who's your top five? Doesn't just have to be in order. Just
Right
who's your
out
top
of the gate
five?
here, top 5.
And of course, you're both including yourself, so pick 5 others besides
Others,
yourselves.
yeah, for sure. I would. I'm definitely on the Luke McMillan bandwagon. I'm in there with Andy McMillan and Rob McCachran, I think, for top 5s.
Okay, so that's 3.
I think Abdali,
Okay.
and if I had to pick another one, probably RJ.
Oh no, Arcerio. Wow, that's
Look at
rough.
that. Thanks a lot.
That's rough.
Appreciate that.
right.
Yeah.
I
He's
don't
not gonna
care.
pick you now, probably.
I thought we weren't picking ourselves.
No,
We're
not
still
yourself.
picking
No,
ourselves.
no,
Yourself.
You're just yourself.
Oh.
He's coming in with a save now.
Am I back in the
He's
money
like,
now? Am
I
I
forgot
back in
him.
now?
Well, let me look at it. I mean, I think that my personal opinion is the 4-wheel drives are going to be really fast, but I still think
Yep.
there's something to be worked out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with all the rough and all the remote we're going through.
800
Christian
miles.
is here. He
Yep.
can tell us. I mean, I don't know. You think you guys' brand new truck is ready to go 800 miles. Christian, you're not racing in your truck, but if you were to say these 4-wheel drives, what you know about the 4-wheel drive, do you think these 2 4-wheel drives that are in the first 10 are 100% certain to finish without a failure, or do you think they're 80%, 40%? What's your percentage of, you think, the ratio that the 4-wheel drives are ready to smash all the way to the finish line?
I would probably say out of all the 4-wheel drives of all the companies, no disrespect to the Hughesmans or the Geysers, but I think the Masons are the 4-wheel drive that are most likely to bring it to the finish line, just because you got a guy like Larry Connor who poured tons of money into that program. They've tried everything. They've tried 6 speeds. They've tried different ring and pinions. They've tried different gears. I think that the Mason has a pretty special package with Team C, and I know for sure that they'll bring it to the finish line. That I know
100%. You feel like they're ready to go.
I think they are ready to go.
All right, that's good.
They got pretty close at the 500.
For sure.
I mean, they got halfway there at the 1,000. They made it 400 miles at the 500, so that's only halfway.
I think that they're a great team. I think that Ricky's an incredible driver. Same for the Menzies team. I just am not totally sold that the 4-wheel drive is all the way there.
Yeah, I mean, hey, obviously, Bryce did a good job at Vegas Torino with it. Vegas Torino is not like Baja, but and what put him out of the race had nothing to do with the 4-wheel drive at all. So
At least that's a story. We were told.
that's true.
So you never really know unless you're standing there.
exactly.
So who are you going with, Ryan?
I'd say my 5. My
Not
top
saying that
5
anybody's a liar. I'm just saying anything could happen.
Yeah, you're right. My 5, and not in any order at all, are I think Luke and Ricky and with Larry Connor and Luke. I think Andy for sure, Rob McCachran for sure, and even though Cameron didn't want to say my name, I'll say Cameron as well. I mean, you need guys that, and I'll slate in Dan, because Dan's very consistent as well. And
Who's racing with Dan? Gary Wyrick?
Is Wyrick? Yeah,
Garrett?
and I know
Very solid.
Rossler's going to race with Luke, which is
Yep.
going to be a good combination right there. But you need the guys. I said talk about Cameron, that the guys that know Baja know what it takes to not go fast. That comes, but know what it takes to run the right pace to do 806 miles and get to the finish line. So because
I think one of the 4-wheel drives will be in the top 5. How's that?
I think you're
Yeah.
right. I think you're right.
I think that they can get them there. I just don't know that the consistency is all the way there. And what's crazy is, I mean, the 500, there was a big pack of people hauling the mail, and just, I mean, it's crazy what the equipment can do.
It is.
And so
it is.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the pace I ran for the 500 wasn't like I used to race back in the day. I just didn't settle into a pace. I mean, you had to keep the
You're on the
intensity
chip.
up. You're on
Think
the
it'll
chip.
be like that for the 1,000?
Every year I say, at some point you kind of fall into a pace a little bit, but I think the first 200 miles is going to dictate what the hell that pace is going to be, and if that pace is on the chip, then you're going to have to stay with that until things start figuring themselves out. So I think it might be for a while.
I think it'll be the whole time, honestly.
Yeah.
I think that nowadays there's so many people driving that fast that at least one or two of them is going to go that speed
Clean it.
the whole
Yeah.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
With how many there are now. Before it was like 2 or 3 guys that were really, really up there that had the stuff that could do it. Now there's easily 7 to 8 guys that could
Absolutely.
go, or maybe 10 that can go
Did you
full
put this on the
speed.
screen so they can see it?
No, I can't do it that easily here, but
gotcha.
yeah.
Like, crap, we should be able to change the transmission and win a race.
Yeah.
Like,
You can't even have a flat tire. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can't-
It's amazing. It just shows how competitive
Wanna
this
ask him his
landscape has
picks?
been for trophy truck nowadays.
Christian, let's hear your picks. You're racing, right? What start position are you in?
Well, after qualifying, we had a little time discrepancy, just like Andy. So we were originally 23rd, but Score did the right thing and moved us to our actual spot, which was around 16th.
Yeah,
but
16th.
given that Cole Potts drops, it'll be 15th, which is right where I wanted to be.
Maybe.
I
I
tried.
agree. Anywhere from 7 to 12 or 15 is good.
Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, I almost crashed on the practice lap, and after that, my brother crashed in qualifying last year, and pretty much, made it really, really hard to win from the back. So, I think 15th is a good place to win. But to answer your original question, it's tough because there's a lot of really good drivers, and just because I put somebody in the top 5 doesn't mean something stupid could happen and take them out of the race, whether they crash or a mechanical
Yeah,
failure.
who would have guessed last year that Andy and Rob would have both been out of the race before they got through San Ignacio?
That too, and I thought Luke McMillan had it in the bag, and I actually went to sleep thinking that I was going to wake up seeing Luke and LR holding the trophy, but I woke up and saw Abdali, and I didn't know what happened. But to answer your question,
I was in the race truck and I had no idea what happened. I was like, what the hell is going on out here?
Yeah.
I never even got in.
We made our mistake right in the middle. We kind of allocated that we would have 20 minutes of downtime, which we had more like 35. But, I think that the one clean run was Abdali, and he ran away with it. Gone.
Yep.
He and his
Exactly,
dad did a
yeah.
great job.
Yep.
exactly. But my top 5, if I can't pick myself, and to be respectful, I won't pick anybody else in this room. I think it's going to be Luke's year. I really think Luke has put the time in. I think he's had a lot of bad luck, and I hope that he got it out of his system and he can actually put a full race together. Rob and Voss, obviously, are going to be really, really tough. Abdali, if he runs trouble-free. Andy and Tavo will be pretty tough. And the Team C truck.
Those are good picks for sure. I'm right alongside you with most of those, and we're going there to win. That's our whole plan. I like picking away from ourselves because I think that eliminates the 3 of us in the room. Talk about the other teams that we think are strong.
Yeah.
And there's just some really great teams. I think one of the sleepers you got to pay attention to in this whole deal too is, the RPM team is a solid team. Josh Daniel and Justin Matney have done a good job. They didn't have a great qualifying. I didn't talk to Josh. I don't know what happened. I saw him.
It was
out there.
the desert setup.
Oh, gotcha. And I think that they're back there at 21, but that's not far back there. All it takes is 2 or 3 trucks in front of them to drop out, give them
Clean air.
and boom, they're on the move.
And out of all the 4-wheel drive trucks, that one does have the most desert time on it.
Yes.
That one has the most race
And
miles
it
on that
has
truck.
won races already.
And it has made it to like Vegas to Reno, which is distance-wise longer.
Yeah.
So it does definitely has some miles on it.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think I'm not all caught up in the start position thing. We're putting too much into it. I think that it's great to be up front, and I think some of those guys are really fast. But the bottom line is, in those first 20 trucks, 8 of them are going to be parked before we cross the road at Chapala.
Yeah.
Just don't be one of those 8.
Yeah.
And then once you cross the road at Chapala, it's going to get super serious. Someone's going to hot rod it in there. They're going to flat. Something's going to happen. That's what happened to us. We got a flat out there in the middle of nowhere and took us back a spot.
Or a drive shaft in the wash, hit a rock. And
Yeah. So, I mean, when it comes right down to it, there's going to be 3 to 5 trucks running for it when we get to El Rosario.
Yep.
That's my answer.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
what I think.
And then once it gets dark, I mean, you got to do some work during the day because once it gets dark, passing's going to kind of go by the wayside. You're not going to catch somebody in the dust and pass them at night. In the lead group,
Especially if it's still.
So absolutely.
And if that F word stuff comes around down there,
yeah.
we don't talk about that, but it might. You never know. That always throws another wrench in the bucket right there.
Yeah, for sure. Much respect to everybody. Trophy Truck Legends. It's cool to see David Westham out there. That's really cool.
That is awesome.
Obviously, Clyde.
He's been around a long time.
I think
so,
Gus,
a lot of miles.
Gus and Scott Bailey are undefeated this year, if I'm not mistaken, right? They won all 3 of the Trophy Truck Legends races. Is
I
that
think
right?
so.
Are they really? That's a good question.
I think so. So I mean, that's a huge year for them.
Who's driving with you, Ryan? Someone just asked.
Yeah, Adam Householder is.
There you go.
Yeah, no, I got a solid guy. Adam knows Baja. He knows how to get the most out of the vehicle, but also be nice to it as well. So I'm super stoked to have Adam aboard. It's we're excited to get this race started.
I like Adam. I think he's a good driver.
He's
got
good.
a great
Yeah,
personality.
He's solid. He's so solid.
What's that?
Mr. Dependable.
Mr. Dependable. That's exactly
and he
it.
goes quick. I mean,
Yeah.
he's not a slug. I mean,
Nope.
he's a good racer, and
Yeah.
I think his dad's given him a lot of good insight. They work together good as a team. And
He's very mechanical, which is cool. I mean, we made some small changes to the truck that were his idea, and it's been for the better. And so I have a lot of respect for Adam. I really do.
Who's driving with you, Cameron?
Pat Dean, we're in our 5th year together. I think we finished 3rd together in 14 and finished 2nd last year together and ran top 3 the last 2 years before that, before having a weird mechanical. So I'm super confident in Pat, and this year we're changing up a little bit. We actually bought another trophy truck for our team, the Menzies truck, and Pat's going to pre-run in that the entire 10 days he's in Baja.
Awesome.
So he's going to get more trophy truck time, which I think it will really help our team. He's not coming from the one car to the trophy truck. He's going to be trophy trucking all week. So
Yeah.
it's good. We're going to be pre-running. We have 2 trophy trucks and a spec trophy truck going. So we got
When are you
some
leaving?
pre-run vehicles. We're going to leave on the weekend and stay down the whole time.
Good.
Yeah. So
Cool.
I didn't feel like there was any need to hurry down there. If you were trying to get data, like points of like getting your pit situated, I mean, we're just there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So we didn't feel like that.
Even for me too. Like, I mean, I wasn't just there like you were just there, but the days of long gone of going down early and starting your homework now. It's almost a waste.
Changes
waste
so
of
much.
Time.
Well,
It's
yeah.
a waste of time. It's
Here's
a
what I
waste
think.
of money. I think.
This is what I think is a waste of time. I'm going to say this out loud. That there's a few race teams that are stinking up the pre-running, and they're cutting in all the lines before the race, and it makes it so there's no real reason to be down there early.
Yeah.
And I could name them because I see them out there doing it.
I do too.
I sit out there on the hill and I'll watch, and you can walk around and move rocks and organize a line that you like. You're like, that's going to be awesome. A week later, these monkeys are just running right through it. And you're like, come on, save it for the race.
Yeah.
And they don't just tiptoe through it once. They run through it. They come backwards through it. They run through it at speed to time it. And you're like, yo, you understand that pre-running is like to pick your lines. You don't have to give them to everybody. So if I sound a little jaded and a little bitter, it's because I am. Because I think it's really ruining what pre-running is all about. And if you have a line, hang on to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some lines that lasted years.
Yeah.
In even the last 8 years, there's lines that lasted for years that people didn't know were there until Score started marking the race course on
that
those
line,
lines.
yeah.
Because they're using the way I think they're doing it, they're using the top 3 GPSs and they're combining the lines and they're marking right down the lines now.
Yeah.
Here's where I have a problem, and you like me, dislike me, whatever. Is I have an issue knowing how hard it is every single year, and as we get further down into the years, to find land to run on and to be respectful of what we're doing down there. Is I have a problem with the guys just blazing through all the trees and bushes, making a line going a completely other direction just to cut a corner off. To me, that's not the spirit of what we're doing.
Right.
If you're finding another legitimate line, I'm all for doing your homework and I'm all for finding good lines, but not at the mercy of now creating a new road.
Well, I think it was really ridiculous. If you look at the video from the Tijuana race that they did at the drivers' meeting, they were putting out videos saying you can't use this line. And we're talking about a line that cuts off miles of the race course that wasn't there, that they drove down through a hill, through the bushes.
Yeah.
And whoever thinks that that's what we should be doing is mistaken.
On a 30-mile lap, too, or whatever.
I mean, I think it's just ridiculous.
I want to race. I want to race you, and I want to know that I beat you fair and square on the same race course for the most part. You know, to me, I said it's only a matter of time before, especially when you're going through ranchers areas, that these guys are going to say we're done. We're done. It's not worth the money for us anymore. We don't want you anymore. Now we're trying to find another place to go race. So now Baja for us gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
And for another thing, definitely worth mentioning, and I think this is has to do with the bike guys. They go through the gates, and they drop the gate just wide enough for the bike to go through. Gates laying on the ground. If you get there and you're in a car, move the gate out of the way. Don't just run it over.
Yeah.
And put it back.
The bike guys that are by themselves, and I'm sorry to pick on the bike guys, but I think it's fair. They drop the gate, they go through, they don't put their bike in the kickstand because they don't have a kickstand.
Yeah.
They're Baja racer guys, so their pre-runner doesn't have a kickstand. And they just leave the gate laying on the ground.
Yeah.
And I just think it's unfair. You got to put the gates back up. And if the rancher has a gate up, it's for a reason. Now, you can come to gates that are open. And the reason usually is because the rancher has his livestock in that next area, and he's leaving the gate open for the livestock to come back.
Yeah.
So there's different things to think about.
Which is hard to know if it was that or the guy before you was being a dick and didn't close it.
Yeah.
So how do you know?
If the gate is laying in the middle of the course, generally speaking, the rancher did not leave his gate
That's
laying
true.
in the middle of the race course.
He would
'Cause has
pull
to
it open
rebuild
all the way.
He would pull it open all the
Yeah.
way. And if there's a sign on the gate that says, please close the gate, it's because he doesn't want his livestock or his neighbor's livestock
to get out.
mixing, or he doesn't want the bull mixing with the cows. I mean, who knows, right?
Yep.
So you just got to respect it, and it bothers me. So cutting in the lines, I mean, a sneaky line here or there in the low desert, great. Save it.
Yeah.
You don't have to track it in.
Yep.
Agree.
I mean, is that
Agree.
wrong?
No,
Am
not
I being
at all.
Makes
angry
sense.
for no reason?
Makes
I don't
sense.
think so. It irritates
totally
me 'cause I saw it
valid.
at the 500. I sat there and just like you, I sat there and watched it. And I'm like, this is bullcrap. This is not what we're doing here. This is not what this is about.
And then just the overly aggressive stuff. I mean, I get it. I'm the same. I love the lines. I love to look at it. I like to visualize. I like to pick something out, and I like to try to make it work. But it's got to be sensible. Keep it in the spirit of Baja racing.
Yeah.
And I know it's hard for some of those guys that are in their 20s that don't have that spirit of Baja racing yet. They're building it. They're learning it. They're gaining it. We've all been there. We've all been the 20-something or even the 30-something. In some cases, the 40-something.
You old guys.
That's old guys. Do I sound like a salty old dude?
No, not yet. But
Not
just
yet.
watch
Getting
it. Watch it.
Yeah, we're getting there. Some of these people are in here saying, "Oh, you should run a race organization." Dude, you don't want to be running a race
No,
organization.
because then you're nobody's friend anymore. Everybody hates
You guys
you.
would be in big ass trouble because I know what you're doing out there. I'm just saying.
Well, let's go have fun in
We're just
Baja.
racers. We know everything.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, that's the problem.
In closing, I'd like to thank Team
Yeah.
Ford once again, of course, and our place here, Baja HQ. Feel free to come down and shop wheels, tires, lifts, springs, shocks, all that stuff, lighting. But more importantly, I just want to say, hey, everybody, this is the Baja 1000, and it's remote. It's dangerous. You got to make good decisions. If you think it's a bad idea, it definitely is a bad idea. That's what I tell the people on our rides and our trips. You gotta remember, the roads don't go to nowhere. No matter how small the 2-track is, someone's using that road, and safety is key. Watch out for the bike guys. Chase guys, don't race the highway. Keep your high beams down. I mean, just all the stuff that just seems like it's total common sense. People seem to throw out the window the second the green flag drops, So my number one message is to be safe, and let's not act like a bunch of jackasses.
I can't agree with you more. I wish everybody an incredible Baja 1000 that are actually racing it. The fans that are down there, just like we've talked about a number of other episodes and in general, just give us room to race. Stand back as far as you can, and I guarantee it, you're still going to have a good show. I said I wish all the teams, the chase guys in particular, just be safe. Use your head, like Cameron was saying. It's not worth your lives or those in the chase truck's lives or a spectator's life. We're down there for fun. We're down there because we love the sport, because we love Baja, and we want to continue to do this for generations to come. So God bless everybody. I wish everybody a
And
good
if you
Baja
do
1000.
see someone acting like a donkey, out them.
Say it.
Just call them out.
Say
Let's
something.
put it out there. It's Be smart. This is no joke, man.
Yep.
Off-road racing is no joke. There's a reason why not everybody in the world does this, because it is gnarly. And this is going to be a gnarly race course.
It is one of the toughest sports in the world, and it is one of the gnarliest races in the world. You know, it's the Baja 1000.
Someone's
Yeah.
asking about the go-around. Who do they ask? That's a score question. We don't know exactly what the go-around is. We do not know what classes are using a go-around. We've heard rumors of it. Is it in the documents that you read, Fish?
That was, somebody said it was sportsman in class 11.
Okay, someone said that in there?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
You have to ask SCORE. They're the organization. We are just casual information, and you can't even count on it for being 100% correct.
Yeah.
Remember, my mom told me, believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. So basically everything you just listen to is out the window bullshit.
All right, well, let's go to Baja and have fun.
Let's do it.
Absolutely.
You ready to go? Hey,
I'm ready to go pre-run.
Best of luck
Good
to you,
luck.
Ryan.
Be
Christian,
safe. Enjoy, Christian.
best of
Good
luck
job.
to you.
Good luck to you
coming
guys.
Yep.
And best of luck to all our fellow racers. Again, be safe. Walk with honor as you're out there, and be respectful to everybody. That doesn't just mean on the highway. That means the ranchers, the livestock, the animals, the cactus, the whole thing.
Yep.
Be respectful. That's going to do it for Fishgistics. Thank you very much to Team Ford for the sponsorship today, and everybody have a great time being safe in Baja. Enjoy.